Hi everyone, happy Movement Paradigm Shift Friday. It's Dr. Arianne and I wanted to do a video today on the 5R framework for gut restoration. Last week I did a video on leaky gut and we have a gut workshop coming up. So I wanted to discuss this in a little bit greater detail about how can you heal and restore your gut. So we know that as it relates to our digestive system, it is critical in our overall immune system and how it can potentially affect chronic disease and autoimmune disease. So it is way more than just having a stomach ache or bloating or abdominal pain or diarrhea or constipation. It literally can be the link to nearly all chronic disease. So what do we do about it? So if you've been diagnosed with autoimmune disease, if you've been diagnosed with a chronic disease, we know that there is a direct relationship to inflammation. And that means systemic inflammation. So if there's a gut issue, that means there's systemic inflammation. So what is the framework that you can use? So in functional medicine, we use a framework called the 5R framework. And it starts with, we have remove, replace, re-inoculate, repair, and rebalance. So I'm just gonna go through each of those to discuss just some tips and things that you can look into on your own. By all means, this is something that you should absolutely seek a medical professional and make sure that you are doing the right things for you. I do specialize in functional medicine. I also work with local doctors that are specializing in functional medicine as well. So I have lots of resources for you. So the first thing and most important thing is removing the things that could be aggravating the gut lining. So anything that you are consuming, so let's say there are inflammatory foods that you're consuming on a regular basis. There are medications that you might be taking. There's parasites, bacteria, or yeast. The first and foremost thing in any type of gut healing is to make sure that you're removing those triggers. So sometimes that would mean that you might need to take a medication or an antifungal or an herb. And from a food perspective, it would be an elimination diet, where you're removing all of the potentially inflammatory foods that you could be having on a regular basis. So that, before you take any supplements, before you start adding things to your diet or your regime, is going to be removing the potential aggravating factors or stressors. We also call them perpetuators or mediators, where every time you have them, you might just have a very subtle effect, a subtle causal effect from what you're consuming or what you're taking, things like NSAIDs, for example, but you might not know when you take it, but over time that can really affect you. So the next thing would be replace. So this is where you're going to be replacing something that's going to help with digestive secretions. So this could be digestive enzymes, it could be hydrochloric acid, it could be bioacid, so anything that's important for the breakdown and digestion and assimilation of the food that you're consuming. So this is where typically you're getting into some supplementation to again just assist the help with the process of digestion, because most often that's been compromised with any type of chronic disease, autoimmune disease, or gut inflammation or effects. The next would be the re-inoculate. So with this, you're going to be re-inoculating with good bacteria. So think of our healthy bacteria, our probiotics, but we also need prebiotics because that's what the probiotics feed on. So as it relates to probiotics, we could be having fermented foods, we could be having tempeh or miso, things like that, fermented yogurt, kimchi. So all of those would be great probiotic foods. They also could come from a supplement, but not everyone can tolerate a probiotic. So there's a lot of unique differences of who would be appropriate, when would they be appropriate, do they need a soil-based probiotic, etc. So there's a lot of considerations that go into that. But if and when you're having your probiotic, which we all need at some level at some time, you need prebiotics. So that could be your high fiber foods, so things like oats and flax, bananas, and garlic, leeks, onions, all of those are excellent prebiotic foods that again can help with the probiotic. Okay, so then the next thing is repair. So this is where When most people have any kind of gut issues, so leaky gut, SIBO, the list goes on, they are typically either not absorbing the nutrients as well, or they are severely compromised and need these specific nutrients for appropriate gut healing. So this is where we're thinking we want antioxidants, we want fish oil. Glutamine is amazing for healing the epithelial lining of the gut. So those are all things where we start to add in more of the good things, okay? And then lastly is rebalance. So this is really from a lifestyle perspective, is looking at, how much stress are you under? I always say everyone has it, but how are you managing it? Are you a person that is just suppressing or repressing all of your emotions and just holding everything in? Or do you have some kind of outlet, whether it's meditation, it's going for a walk, it's talking to a friend, it's journaling, it's gratitude journal. What are the things that help you to be able to manage the stress? Because stress is one of your biggest inflammatory triggers. So it is something that will just really negatively impact you from an overall health standpoint. And it's something that really needs to be considered as part of a lifestyle change. Then again, what other lifestyle choices are you making regarding sleep? So that is your regeneration and repair of your body. So if you're not getting adequate sleep, there's no way that you can choose the appropriate foods, that you are maintaining excellent recovery for you to be able to perform, whether it's a sport or it's just things in life. So you want to be able to really look into that and make sure that you're dedicating time and energy and effort to the appropriate amount of sleep. And then of course the food. So are you able to meal prep? Are you able to figure out a plan that you're able to get in all of your nutrients? And from the biggest perspective as it relates to that is diversity. You want diversity, diversity, diversity. That's what we're looking for in the gut. That's what keeps our gut healthy. That means that we don't have to wash our hands all the time. We actually need bacteria and parasites and things around. So there's something called the hygiene hypothesis, which is where us over washing our hands and using the hand sanitizer is really negatively affecting us as well. So just food for thought. And then also just being mindful of things like antibiotic use and NSAIDs. So one time of having antibiotics can change your microbiome forever. So it doesn't mean that you can't rebuild as obviously what I'm talking about today, but just one use of antibiotics can change your microbiome forever. So the next time you get sick, try to think twice about running to the doctor to get an antibiotic and just think, okay, normally it's gonna probably go away just a little bit longer than it would have before if you didn't take it. Things like popping Advil before you play a round of golf or after you play. Things like that just, again, significantly, negatively impact your gut and your healthy bacteria. So just things to consider from a lifestyle perspective, and there's of course many more. But those are just kind of a few things to get you thinking on the right path. There's a lot of different variables within each of these segments. But I just wanted to kind of get you thinking that way. So if you had questions, you can feel free to reach out. If you're looking for a functional medicine evaluation, again, you can reach out. If you need resources or just more further information, please let me know at any time, and I'd be more than happy to share. All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.